Hello everyone and welcome to day 3 here at the 2017 Ledgestone Insurance Open presented by Discraft. I'm joined by Steve Dodge of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And Steve, we talk about the courses, the changes, things that can take place or not. We had a course out here on Thursday, a very different one yesterday, and yet maybe a different one today, all due to weather.
This is a beautiful day. I think ideal conditions. This opening hole, 633 feet over water. These guys are going to be looking to go hot and heavy, start right off from the bat.
Josh Anthon opened the tournament bogey-free and OB-free. That led him to a 12 under par. Yesterday, he had the second hottest round out here, which moved him to 17 under par overall. Ricky Wysocki is at 13, Paul Ulibarri at 12, and Paul McBeth joins the leader card at 11 under. He's got some work to do. 6 strokes back?
6 strokes back. That's three each round. I did some quick math there.
To tie.
To tie. What else do you need? So, very hot card, very good guys, and we saw 2 of the guys on the second card go OB on this first shot. So it'll be interesting to see if these guys can keep it in bounds and get a good start.
Well, let's get it going today. Today, again, normally referred to as moving day. We're looking at possible inclement weather tomorrow, and with the way this year has gone, I'm just going to say score as well as you can today. All right, for Steve Dodge and Terry the Disc Golf Guy, we're getting to the action right here with your lead card at the Ledgestone Insurance Open.
You guys ready? Are we ready?
All right, the crowd is ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, the number 1 card of the day. First, off of the tee, Josh Anthon, Rio Linda, California.
And giving himself plenty of room on the right side. Josh Anthon is inbounds.
And from Fort Mill, South Carolina, 2-time world champion, Ricky Wysocki.
He totally crushed that. I think he's coming back. He's going to have a really good look at up and down for 3.
Next, from Mesa, Arizona, Paul Ulibarri.
Wind pushing that down, however, it's going to be a similar result to what we saw from Josh Anthon.
And from Huntington Beach, California, 4-time world champion, Paul McBeth.
And again, the newcomer on the lead card here today, Paul McBeth. And Paul's going to need that to turn more. It is hyzering hard toward the water. I'm not sure it's going to clear. And it's come up short. He knew it right out of his hands. We've got coverage from the women's third round put together. But first we're going to move to the drop zone. We will be cutting a little later to the women's coverage that Steve Dodge had put together along with Marty McGee from Prodigy Disc. But first we're going to take a very short walk here to the drop zone where Paul McBeth will throw ultimately his third shot. Paul looking to make up for his OB shot off the tee and very aggressively letting out a little bit of anger. All right, we're moving on. We got a long walk. Let's see how the women did earlier today on hole 1 at Northwood Park. And Josh, first to approach, finds himself inside circle 1. Anytime we reference circle 1, that's inside 10 meters, otherwise known as just over 32 feet.
Josh has gone 3-3 on this hole, just like everybody except for Ricky. Ricky went 3-4.
Uli matches. Wysocki looks to have a standstill.
With the slow green, can he be aggressive here, Terry? Can he try to get this in?
He can. The problem is, if you go past that basket, there's bushes and there's a little bit of water. I'm not sure that I'd be too aggressive. You really don't need to open with an eagle. It would be great, but you don't need to do that.
Over 500 feet away, up and down to save the par. That is a great start by Paul McBeth. A great recovery by Paul McBeth. And interesting thing about this hole, 40% of the people get a birdie, 40% get a bogey. Paul McBeth sits in that little 20% window.
And as I mentioned, if you go deep here on this approach, even with the slow green as you called it, you find yourself in the nasty bushes. He's short of the OB water, but Ricky Wysocki's got a disc up over his head. He's got it, looks like a pancake. This is dangerous. So Steve, I guess to answer your question, no, running at this green is not a good idea.
Terry, once again, I think you're right. I think that's the third time I've said that.
Today, anyway. And we got a fan club member of Ricky's cheering his par. And conventional birdies by Ulibarri and Josh Anthon. We've got a medium-sized walk over to hole 2. We'll be back in a moment. And welcome back. We are here on hole number 2. We're live. The 5th most difficult hole, and this par 4 averages out to play at 4.54. Our lead card, all 4 competitors shot it at putts. And in the opening round, all 4 of them took birdie 3s. Josh Anthon opts for a roller, which is tight on the right side, playing along the OB that plays to the right. That is out of bounds. And Uli has a mid-range with a nice, gentle float. Also hugging that right side. Wysocki also going with a backhand roller, giving a fist pump, and it has, looks like it may have finished OB. And Paul asks for the gallery on the right side just to push back slightly. And that may have bounced OB. We'll have to see when we get up there. Let's see how the women did earlier at Northwood Park. Five seconds, Rick. And it's been confirmed that Paul McBeth is, in fact, OB.
That's 2 OBs and 2 drives for Paul McBeth. See if he can recover here, get another, well, it would be a bogey, but save the 4 at least.
Oh, yes. And Paul McBeth has put it up near the basket. The gallery further back thinks it's great. It's tough to tell exactly how close he was to the water's edge, but very pure shot there by Paul McBeth.
And you were correct. This would be saving a par, as this is a par 4. Combining 2 holes generally results in a par 4.
players today are able to throw shots with a little more pinpoint accuracy. Yesterday, it was a matter of really trying to navigate and fight the wind throughout various. Today, they throw it is pretty much where it's going to go. You see that Josh Anthon has found himself OB. Looks like Ricky Wysocki is up also near the OB line.
So Paul Ulibarri parked that base. He's looking to knock 2 strokes off of his score from yesterday. Very good start, birdie for Paul if he can.
And although Josh is not a predominant forehand thrower, he certainly will bust one out whenever he needs it. That looks to be just a bit short and right. As we talked about earlier in the show, Josh is a very aggressive player. I'm guessing he's going to be running at that putt, even with the water directly behind the pin.
He was off right yesterday, and that tree was in his way. He had to do a little anti-putt around the tree, and he tickled chains. It'll be interesting to see what he's got today.
Wysocki with a forehand harp.
So, if I'm correct, Terry, that's the second time earlier today that I did in fact say you were correct. And I'm actually going to go and say here on National Disc Golf Day, which is the day after your birthday, we're going to go ahead and call this National Terry's Correct Day. I didn't want to do it yesterday. I figured people might think I was, buttering up to you, butter on a roll, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So Paul Ulibarri's got himself in very good position to go birdie, and everybody else on the card went OB on their drive. He did a 2-stroke swing right here.
We're not sure if Ricky, I'm pretty sure Ricky, in fact, was straddling the OB line. I believe he was, in fact, inbounds.
Well, we'll have to see. We need some verification.
And as I said, Josh was aggressive with the putt. He looked to be about circle's edge, and he ran it, and he came up high, hitting the top upper entrapment here of this custom-coated Discraft Chain Star basket. We'll talk more about those later. And again, Paul McBeth, solid putt, saving the par after an OB tee shot.
Is that Paul's nickname is Par Save?
Typically not. And Yuli is tapping in. I'm hearing conflicting answers, as I've heard that Ricky was OB, and I've also heard that Ricky's drive was not OB. We'll get it figured out by the next hole. We'll be back with you in a few moments from hole number 3. Great looking forehand flex shot with a very overstable disc there by.
Before he threw, he asked everybody to move off the sidewalk, and now it becomes very wide. It's 203. A tough break for Ricky off that tree.
And Paul goes with a Nova off the tee. Very slow cut and approach disc. And Josh going with the mid-range. We're going to hold off on the women's coverage for just a moment as we walk to Ricky Wysocki's very early lie here. Steve, what I was trying to denote or say to you is not only was it a tough break, like you mentioned, that he finds himself OB, this may be a very awkward lie. He's got a long stretch that he can make. This may or may not be an awkward lie depending on where his placement is.
This place is a tough hole for Ricky. He's gone 3-4, as opposed to someone like Josh Anthon, who's got that mid-range straight up the gut, who's gone 2-2.
And Ricky is safe. Let's cut over to the women's third hole at Northwood Park. Yes, Josh Anthon from just inside circle 2. We were just talking a moment ago. If he were to take a 2 here, which he's just done, he's played this hole in 6 strokes. Wysocki's looking to play this very hole in either 11 or 12 strokes for the weekend. That's the difference between their lead right now.
That's exactly the difference. He's going to be 5 behind on this hole and in the tournament.
And McBeth answers from half the distance that we just saw Josh Anthon. That was approximately 28, maybe 29 feet. And Ricky Wysocki just wants to get off of hole 3 and move on. Looks like he should be able to save his bogey 4. And he's done just that again. Josh Anthon has scored 5 less strokes on hole number 3 than Ricky has in the last 3 rounds. Paul Ulibarri, easy 2. We're moving on a very short walk to the very challenging hole number 4. Good.
To avoid cigarette smoke near the tee.
And welcome back. We are here on hole number 4, Paul Ulibarri on the tee. This is a blind hole which plays down a hillside, and the basket is perched on a dirt mound. There's a mandatory. Yesterday we saw Paul McBeth Anheuser carry all the way OB. Today is a good looking line. However, it hits a tree down the fairway. Paul McBeth going right up the middle and staying clear of most of the trees. However, it's carrying toward the OB, and it is a red flag. So although everyone from the sidewalk vantage point thought that was a good shot, it was actually not as it carried OB, and Josh Anthon releases his mid-range way too low and does not get over the crest of the hill.
Josh did the exact same thing yesterday, throwing low, playing very safe, just making sure he gets to 3, give himself a small chance at 2. It's a very hard hole to birdie. Paul Ulibarri has also opened the round with 3 birdies. He's playing very hot.
And Wysocki seems to be hugging the left side a little tighter than the other competitors. He did the same thing yesterday in much different winds. That's a green flag. We'll be back in a moment after the women play their 4th hole. And a little forehand flick with a putter from Josh Anthon.
It's fun watching Josh Anthon throw that mid straight down the gut of these holes, knowing his disc and trusting it.
And Yuli with a very soft touch, just wants that to finally sit down. He'll be just fine with a putt from there.
Called a 270 roll, we call that in Virginia.
That's a bowling term? Candlepin bowling.
It rolled 270 degrees around the pin. So one interesting thing, I mentioned earlier, this is a hard hole to birdie, and it is. Only 15% of the competitors get the birdie here. Half of these guys do. That's why they're on the lead card.
And Steve, we are now 4 holes into the tournament on this 3rd round, and Paul McBeth has thrown OB 75% of his drives.
Yeah, he has, and that was a. You can tell. You probably know better than I, but that seemed like a very aggressive putt for this early in the round. I think Paul's trying to get a little bit of his mojo back.
Well, he was certainly trying to save the par there with a very long downhill putt. Not a very high percentage putt for many people. If anyone could make it, you'd certainly be a betting man and put Paul on there. But here he is putting for bogey from about 23 feet. And he does make the comebacker to the elevated basket.
Terry, when these guys putt, on his previous putt, he went over the basket by about an inch. That one, he was about a foot above the basket, the cage. Where are these guys aiming?
Looks as if Yuli's aim was just off there. A lot of times, players will talk about getting just over the cage. They don't want to get it too high, worried about something that could happen in the chains, possibly a spit out or a spit straight through. You're looking to get just a few inches over the edge of the cage, center pole. And Ricky's in. We've got a short walk over to the famous ball field hole on number 5.
Tempercraft USA. Double-walled stainless steel 18/8 construction keeps it cold while you're hot, keeps it hot while you're cold. Get your customized growlers, tumblers, and sport bottles. Lifetime warranty and 1% back to the planet. Tempercraft USA. Temper your thirst.
And the very challenging baseball diamond hole, hole number 5, I believe 476 feet, aced during the opening round by Greg Barsby. And yesterday we saw it prove troublesome for 2 of our 4 competitors with OBs on the tee shots. Josh Anthon looks like there may have been an adjustment. We're feeling a right to left wind, and Josh Anthon gets the green flag. This basket is also elevated just to provide a little bit more challenge.
Josh played that probably 50 or 60 feet to the right of the pin. Obviously, that's where the green is wider. Do you think he's looking at the deuce, or is he just playing for a safe 3?
And Ulibarri, not enough power. He finds himself in the outfield, which is OB. And to answer you, Steve, I believe that Josh will be more than content with just carding a 3 here.
One interesting thing about Josh's play, we say that he's aggressive, but he's intelligently aggressive. If he doesn't think that he can gain a stroke, get the birdie, he plays safe. He'll use his mid and make sure he doesn't lose a stroke.
Well, Josh has openly admitted he doesn't have the distance he sees from our other competitors. And an ace? Oh, it is not an ace. I believe it is stuck into the side of the basket. What is going on? There's a chuckle here. We're going to keep walking.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to keep walking as we move to the drop zone. I think everyone, Ricky Wysocki, does not care at all as he's moving down the fairway. Paul's got a smile on his face. And we're just going to keep moving. We have to come to the drop zone first. So that's why we will not cut away to the women's footage just yet. But we have to come back to the drop zone where Paul Ulibarri will be throwing from. Little traffic directing here by Nate Heinold. And what a crazy turn of events. Paul Ulibarri is going to be on the drop zone tee. Yuli's shot is also tracking toward the pin. Looks to have just the right amount of power. We're going to check in with the women over at Northwood Park. We'll be back in a few moments. And McBeth says, mind if I clear this out real quick? He's going to go ahead and mark his lie. That is not an ace, ladies and gentlemen. That will be just an eagle. The gallery loves it. A few years ago, Steve, that would have been considered a hole-in-one. However, the PDGA made the clarification that it must go into the basket from the intended side, and if it were to stick on the way out. And from 63 feet, had this not been elevated, I think that would have been in. This is in fact a par 3. I stand corrected. Earlier I referenced it as a par 4. And Ricky's putt from approximately 42 feet is right side. This is playing as the third most difficult hole on the course, averaging 3.69, so certainly averaging much closer to a 4 than a 3.
Through these 4 players, first 3 rounds, only 2 birdies so far. Ricky Wysocki got it in the first round, and obviously McBeth got it today.
And a run there by Paul Ulibarri. He's going to move off of hole 5 with a 5. A little bit of momentum shift as he had started so hot. 3 consecutive birdies, and then giving them back on the last 2 holes. And Yuli has no more than 10 feet here to clean up. And Josh Anthon will tap in for his 3. And we've got a very lengthy walk over to the challenging par 4. Hole number 6. We'll be back in a few moments.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
So get off your seat. You'll find your home when you fall.
And welcome back. We are here on the par 4, hole number 6. That was Colin Bailey throwing his second shot a moment ago. We watched the rest of the card throw their approach shots. Looked like everyone was in fact in bounds. I see Greg Barsby along with Bobby Music and KJ Nybo all on our second card. We also have our friends over at Central Coast doing your post-production video coverage, and Jomez Productions will be putting out a shortened version of this round that you are seeing right now. They'll have that out by tomorrow as well. So Central Coast on chase card, Jomez on lead card, and Marty McFly over at Prodigy Disc with the women's lead card. Steve, what are we seeing?
It's probably a good time to catch up on all the scores throughout the day. The things that I'm seeing, hot round right now, at least in the top 10, James Cole, 4 down. You probably remember Snappy from the Tour Championship of last year when who did he take to a playoff? Was that Cale? Or I think it was Cale Davis guy he took to a playoff in the semifinals. And then Nate Doss was sitting at 4 down. They both moved up 5 and 6 spots respectively. Are we? We're not green yet. So right now, sitting in first, Josh Anthon, 18 down. 4 strokes behind him is Ricky Wysocki.
And as you're saying that, Steve, we're going to catch back up with the lead card. It looks like Paul McBeth is ready to tee here on this 800-plus foot hole. And this has come in as the most difficult hole found on the course, and that is difficult in terms of relation to par, not necessarily just the highest amount of strokes, although this is averaging 4.82 and is considered the most difficult hole relative to par.
Terry, you were correct, as usual, when you said 800 something. Although I'll go ahead and clarify, it's 897 feet. And again, you were correct. This is the single most difficult hole of the round. Additionally, Paul McBeth threw that disc a good 50 or 60 feet farther than any of the competitors yesterday. And then Ricky Wysocki also throwing a bit farther than he did yesterday. I think these guys are playing a little more aggressive with no wind. And we might be looking at a couple of three runs.
And the spotter is cautiously going to run over. I believe from my vantage point it looked like it would be in bounds. He's going to give a green flag to Josh Anthon. Yesterday we saw, even with the whipping winds, we saw 4 drives all land right in the center of the fairway. Today, with a very gentle right to left, they seem to be pushing a little bit closer to the left side, and Uli is safe and in bounds. And behind us, Colin Bailey, we'll see if we can kind of zoom in. He's running down a long putt that he just made here on hole number 6. KJ Nybo with the congratulatory low 5.
He had about 55 feet there.
And make sure you watch that on Central Coast tomorrow morning.
That's a pretty quality 3. Perhaps we should go see what the women did on hole 6.
Anthon's throwing.
Are we live?
Looks like Josh Anthon first to throw. He needs that to stop. It's going to also be close. It looked from more than 100 feet away that it had stopped before carrying all the way to the long grass. Green flag for Josh Anthon.
This reminds me a little bit of Wimbledon, watching these guys run across to check. And the little ball boys running.
Yep. That guy has 3 tennis balls in his pocket, which is kind of weird. That seemed to be more or less a pitch up by Paul Ulibarri. Maybe he was undecided as to just how aggressive he wanted to be, and I think he ultimately said, well, I'm just going to play it up to their approach and hopefully walk away with the 4. Wysocki also playing what looks to be a pretty conservative option, going with a forehand, flirting with the OB, going through it, and he is very lucky that one of those tree branches did not pull him in and suck him into that OB.
So we watched Wysocki play yesterday, and off half the tees, he was aggravated with his throws. I suspect on that throw, he was none too pleased. He's only behind by 4, and he's been aggravated half the time. Yeah.
I'll say again, Steve, I've watched Wysocki play quite a bit throughout the years, and he puts a lot of pressure on himself. He expects nothing short of perfection with every throw. And even his best friends and everyone else on tour will say, Ricky Wysocki could shoot an 18 under par and still appear to be really frustrated. He's really that good. He's a fierce competitor, and all too often I see him throw a shot, blurt out the word junk, and then can a 60-footer.
I have a feeling this could be a tremendous shot. It's coming right at us. Comes back in bounds, inside circle 2. He's got 60 feet for the birdie 3.
And that actually hit the OB line and then continued with the skip. Thankfully, that did not check up or take some kind of counter spin or skip. And he finds himself in bounds, like you said, just inside 60 or so feet.
I would have to say a well-placed wall by Nate Heinold and the crew. It's a very big crew of staff here at the Ledgestone Insurance Open presented by Discraft. That keen wall is a good 10 to 15 feet off the OB line. It's a spectator wall, but Paul wanted everybody to check out a little bit farther, and now we know why.
Well, it was a few years ago on this very hole, I watched Johnny McRae throw a wide shot that ultimately caught a spectator that is in bounds, and McRae's shot had caught a spectator, and it's undetermined if it would have in fact gotten back in bounds or not, but always backing the players and spectators off of the field of play is a good idea. And Steve, I'd like to say this suggestion of backing the wall off of the actual OB, that was maybe echoed by some of the players throughout a few of these events as well?
I believe it was we're going to call it the Drew Gibson rule. Now he's got 2 rules here in the Pro Tour. Yeah, he's been an advocate for that, and this is the first event we've done it. And I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it. I agree with him entirely. I think my opinion was incorrect on that, and his opinion's better. So I think that's 3 times today so far that we've made corrections to what I used to believe. Josh Anthon with a beautiful upshot puts that within 5 feet, maybe within 3. One interesting thing for me about Paul Ulibarri's shot, you and I both thought his approach shot was pretty short, but I guess he knows his game. He puts his 3rd shot within 10 feet and should have a pretty easy par on the most difficult hole on the course.
And I've caught word from the studio that you said you've corrected yourself 3 times. That's actually incorrect. You've corrected yourself more than 3 times, Steve.
That is easy to believe today.
And a great shot by Wysocki, which actually bounced up and hit off the pin.
My guess is Wysocki's upset that wasn't 3 feet higher.
And Paul McBeth, a few feet inside the 60 you mentioned. I'm looking at approximately 55 feet. This is for the birdie 3. And I could read Paul's lips as he was throwing that up there. He just wanted it to get there, and he's converted. Steve, goosebumps.
I got goosebumps. It was fun watching, just looking at the crowd in anticipation. 100% of the people wanted that to go.
Again, great camaraderie amongst these guys. Everyone enjoying one another's company. Ricky will tap in. Josh will tap in. A brief walk to hole 7. Stay tuned. You're watching live disc golf at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft.
So we go from the hard.
And welcome back. We are here on hole number 7. Oh, we're good, Paul. Are you good? Good birdie.
Two birdies. So, Terry, he just birdied the most difficult hole on the course. How do you think he's going to do on the easiest hole on the course?
Birdie. And Wysocki laces a forehand shot to within 20 feet of the pin. Josh Anthon also finds himself within 20. And Yuli's flip up forehand does not come back. Let's see how the women did on the 7th hole at Northwood Park.
Nice follow-up.
And McBeth has thrown a very long approach right next to the pin. After And Yuli converts here on the birdie. I'm guessing we're seeing 3 birdies and the lone par by McBeth. Josh also is in for 2. Sounds as if the chase card has just teed off on the next hole. Means we'll have a little bit of a backup there. And Paul will be the last to tap in. Paul with the lone par here. The other 3 competitors with birdies. And we are through 7 holes, a little over 1/3 of the way. Steve, I think we're going to stand down for just a few moments, listen to a word from our sponsors. We'll be back with some more of your amazing analytics and also with some of the chase card action from hole 8 shortly.
I look forward to it, Terry.
Sun King Discs, established in 2001. Florida's most respected name in disc sports. Official retail merchandiser of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Currently on tour supporting Discraft and DGA live inventory, free shipping at $12. All orders $19.99, ships in a box, includes single discs, large selection of both stock and collectibles. Check out the website at www.sunkingdiscs.com.
For looks, for life, for length.
Hey everyone, it's AJ Risley. I've been on the road for about 5 or 6 weeks now. I'm going to be on the road for another 5 or 6 months for the rest of the year, and I've got another pro tip for you. When you're playing as much golf as I do and as the rest of the touring pros do, you are on your feet for pretty much 5 or 6 days out of the week, so that means that your feet are going to be pretty tired. So what I like to do is I always have a nice pair of flip-flops in the trunk and usually an extra pair of socks to change into right when I get off the course, because I know my dogs are definitely barking. So I want to get into some nice comfy flip-flops, get my feet out of that foot jail, and relax. There you go.
Welcome back everyone to hole number 8. We have our lead card who is just waiting for the chase card to push off of their approach shots. This hole measures in at 793 feet. Also averaging the 4.52 and fourth most difficult to spit out.
Everybody on this card has parred this both rounds. Ricky Wysocki pulls that way, well, not way right, but he's going to have a tough look in if he wanted to give himself a real shot at birdie. Or if I was over there, I would have a tough look in.
Not sure your forehand skills are quite what Ricky's are, so he might have an advantage on you there.
So, as I said yesterday, this is the hole that McBeth said he tends to get too aggressive on. He'll be last on the tee. It'll be interesting to see, after watching his competitors throw, he knows there's no wind out here, to see how aggressive he is on his drive.
I'd like to think we got into a position where even the best of drives will not get all the way to us. It's a great throw there by Paul Ulibarri, and if McBeth puts everything into this and throws a perfect shot, he could just about land at our feet. We'll see.
I'm going to go ahead and predict he comes within 25 to 30 feet of us. I think he is feeling like he needs to make a move. He's currently 6 strokes back. And that is a beautiful flex shot. Flies over Ulibarri's and skips a few feet past it.
And a great shot, coming up about 60, maybe 70 feet short of us. Perfect position for where you'd want to be here on this very difficult hole. Let's cut to the women who are playing their 8th hole over at Northwood Park. Welcome back to hole number 8 here at the Lake Eureka temporary course. There is in fact a permanent course located here at the Lake Eureka Park. Some of our amateurs and other divisions are competing on that course this week. This, of course, being a temporary layout that our open division is going to be competing on all 4 rounds out here this weekend. Out here, we've got a famous bridge hole coming up next. Not quite halfway through the round, but doesn't seem like the chase card is doing the chasing they need to be doing.
So far, you're right. So far on the chase card, Bobby Music's 2 down, KJ Nybo's 2 down. Barsby and Colin are both in the plus side of things right now. It looks to me like it's these 4 guys, and if Snappy Cole can birdie the next couple holes, he can get in this thing too. He'd be 8 down through 12. But right now, it looks like we've got a potentially one-man race if Josh Anthon keeps playing the way he's playing.
All right, he seems unfazed. It looks like he's ready to go here. Let's get back to the action on hole number 8. And Josh just playing to the edge of the peninsula there. And putting himself right next to that stump is really the best place you can be if you're just looking to get up and down and take your 4.
I know as a standard human how I play, and I tend to go straight at the things I'm looking at. And Josh says he knows what he needs to do. He just needs to get somewhere where he can go up and down nice and easy. A perfect play, knowing his distance, knowing his disc, and knowing there's no wind. Paul Ulibarri, on the other hand, decides he wants to be aggressive and doesn't look like that's turning enough. That could be danger off to the left, and it is in fact out of bounds.
Steve, I'm sure thanks to udisclive.com, with a little bit of clicking, can you find out how many people have actually birdied this over the last few days?
Let's see. Over both days or just today?
Either or.
Okay, well, it's just a different click. UDisc is an amazing stat. So we're looking at, what hole is this?
This is hole number 8.
Okay, let me tell you real quick. As you said earlier, it's the 4th hardest hole, and 4% of the people have birdied this hole over the last 2.5 rounds.
And Wysocki is playing for par at the moment. We'll see. Looks like Paul may be doing the same. He's got a forehand lined up, but I'm not sure if he's going to fully attack the pin or just lay this out.
And just so we know, 4% is in fact 6 players.
And Paul knows that he released it just a bit early. It's heading toward the wet area on the right side. That is maybe a very tricky up and down from there.
Terry, I think that Paul was 100% correct in the press conference. This is one of those holes you need to just rein it in, play it safe, just like Josh Anthon did. He is an amazingly intelligent aggressor. He'll go when it's worth going, and usually succeeds. But when it's not worth it, he lays it up and takes the easy 4. His competitors, much more difficult 4s.
We spoke of it yesterday. This is a peninsula green that gets very narrow, just short of the basket, with a very small putting circle around it. We'll see another forehand here. I believe that's a putter. And he has stuck the landing right underneath the basket. A head knocker for a tap-in par. Played quite well. Josh sporting his favorite bag from 16 years ago. Says he's not a fan of the backpack style bags. We'll see if that changes. And with a run from outside Circle 2's edge, Ricky hits the front of the basket. Josh Ushel came over and confirmed. He says, I've tried some of those other bags. They're not for me. So says he's not changing.
Well, maybe he'll change to a Zuka cart someday. They've got nice things. I'm sure they could fit him into something nice.
Well, I think Zuka's a sponsor of the tour, aren't they?
Zuka cart. Roll one away today. And as a matter of fact, Randy Moore won the Zuka cart yesterday under all the boxes. I've seen very few people that have been that excited. That's not quite true. That's mistake number 4 or 5.
And Yuli's content with that, just sitting down. He didn't really want to draw metal other than going in. You don't want to draw too much metal because it could easily get up and roll on you. In fact, Wysocki, after hitting the front of the basket, is pretty content that that just sat the way it did. He'll settle for his par. And we saw this yesterday, although there was a whipping wind out here on this peninsula. Anytime you are throwing at the basket with the water no more than 15 feet behind it and a downslope to it, this is going to require a little bit of delicacy and touch by McBeth. And Paul is actually a little closer, I believe, or he's actually just checking out his lie. No, looks like he is, wow, I'm sorry. It looks like he is actually about 50 to 60 feet from the pin, very obstructed, and OB water no more than 15 feet directly behind his lie. And he opts for the layup right to the base of the pin.
That reminds me of the dark and desolate line from Tin Cup, just for those people who are wondering what's going through my little mind right now. And just to let people know, James Cole did in fact birdie hole 11. If he gets one more birdie, I'm officially calling him back in this race.
McBeth will tap in. Uli will tap in, and as I said, underneath the pin for Josh Anthon for his drop-in par. with a lengthy walk over to the bridge hole, hole number 9. We'll be back in a few moments right here at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft.
We're going to have to move on the boards. You better sit stop right there. Hey Terry, here we are on the very famous bridge hole. One fun thing I was checking as we came over here, the average on this hole is 3.02. When the second card finished, it became 3.01. So I'm going to set a little goal for us right now. I would like our goal to be making the average of this 3.00 when things are all done. I'll let you know at the end if we reach our goal.
Well, as we were walking over to the tee area, Paul Ulibarri said he'd like to get us on SportsCenter with this shot. So we've got the replay, and if we had a Paul Ulibarri calling the shot graphic, we'd be putting it up right now.
Do you think McBeth's shot is going to make like number 10? 4?
Well, one Paul showing the other Paul how it's really done. I mean, that's the way they could certainly show it on the top 10 tonight.
And so far on the scoreboard, actually McBeth is showing Ulibarri how it's done. He's beating him by 1. And
after hitting a Discraft feather banner, Wysocki's comes up short, and he will be OB.
And
that is tracking toward the basket, just left, and green flag for Josh Anthon.
Josh is up by 4 and has the foot on the floor. Doesn't look like he's going to stop anytime soon.
And that is short. Jonathan Gomez just about got his head taken off over on the other side of the bridge.
So, with the exception of Josh Anthon, everybody has birdied this twice. And we've already seen 2 shots go OB, and that is low.
And the Drew Gibson wall gets him. Uh-oh.
Let's see how the women did on hole 9 at Northwoods.
Ricky Wysocki moving to the drop zone. and should have a very makeable bogey putt from there.
A big thank you to Tribal Leg for providing the Tribal Leg wall. They were the first sponsor the Pro Tour ever had. Happy to have them back for the second season. It was a very well placed throw by Paul.
And Uli goes with a forehand and also finds himself inside the circle. And Steve, a few moments ago we saw that Josh Anthon, the only one of the leader card competitors to put this shot inbounds here on hole number 9. And the rest are looking at bogeys, assuming they make their putts.
It's looking to be a minimum of a two-stroke swing. Putting Josh 6 ahead of Ricky. 7 ahead. Wow, that's some tough math. 8 ahead of Paul McBeth.
And Ricky, concerned with his footing with the OB string directly behind him. I feel like he should have brought that in the full 1 meter if he wasn't already. His back leg caught the OB string indicator. And barely just willing it in on that left side. Paul Ulibarri is going to walk off here with a 4, still relinquishing 2 strokes to Josh Anthon if Josh converts.
It looked like Paul Ulibarri was pitching to Barry Bonds there low and left.
And McBeth converts from the drop zone ultimately, which will give him a bogey 4, and Josh Anthon looking to pick up 2 or 3 on everyone else on the card. And as expected, Josh does not miss very many putts from essentially any range where he has a putter in his hands. Ricky is flustered. He'll tap in, and we're moving on to the back half of the course. Stay tuned. You're watching live disc golf at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft. And welcome back as we're seeing our chase card just move off the green here on hole number 10. I think a moment ago we talked about James Cole moving into second place as he's 8 under through the day. Is that what I've heard, through 12 holes?
That is 100% correct, and he was 6 down through 10 and decided to birdie 11 and 12. 12 is the water tower hole, a very difficult birdie. Says to me that James Snappy has got it rolling. Josh Anthon also has it rolling with an amazing drive well inside circle 1. He's got another headbanger. You know, stats don't matter one bit when you throw like that. It does not matter how many times you've deuced it. That thing was a beautiful shot. It is ridiculous how well he knows his disc as he flips it up, just lets it ride.
I will say, with approximately 27 holes left to play, 26 once he taps in, I'm going to call it. I think this is Josh Anthon's tournament, and I don't know if there's enough in McBeth or Wysocki to come out and chase him down and catch him. McBeth does answer. That's going to be probably a birdie for him, but Josh Anthon is so consistent and playing so well out here. I'm calling it right now. I think this is Josh Anthon's tournament to lose.
After the very first round, the article that was written on the Pro Tour's News Flash website, a nice Paul Ulibarri put some very good action on that. That hyzer's in. He is also inside circle 1. These guys are making this hole very easy, but said basically Anthon needs to be considered whenever you have a conversation about who's going to win. It's no longer Wysocki McBeth. It's now Wysocki, McBeth, and Anthon. And obviously when Simon Lizotte and Nate Sexton are here, they're in the conversation. An amazing shot by Ricky. We might be looking at a star frame. Let's see how the women did on their 10th hole.
Welcome back. We are here on hole number 10 on the green. Everyone inside the circle, making this 500-footer look more like a 250-footer. This is ridiculous how dialed in they are. Yuli is first to convert, and Steve, as we were walking down the fairway, we actually challenged Nate Heinold and said, is this really 500 feet? He said, well, please 470.
So
I think he needs to get his actuaries on that.
Before this group, this hole had been birdied by 20 competitors, roughly 15% of the field. They just got 4 more birdies. Josh Anthon maintains his lead. We're moving on to hole 11. That was easy.
Out of all 4 of their drives, and I'm not sure they would have been outside the circle. We're moving on a lengthy walk over to hole 11.
That's right.
Always thrown Innova and competed with Innova. I don't think I'd be playing this sport if it wasn't for creating the disc itself and then just taking it to the next level over and over and over again. How great the discs are themselves. It's really gained my trust, and I don't think I would be here without Innova. I don't see myself doing anything else.
1. Go. Come on now.
Welcome back. We are here on the back 9. Josh Anthon with the tee, rolling along with ease during this third round here at Moving Day. This hole measures in at 240 feet and statistically the easiest hole on the course.
It's interesting you say that, Terry, because when we played hole 7, that was the easiest hole on the course. But when as the lead cards go through, holes get easier. This hole is now the easiest hole on the course.
Would you say that's a advantage of being in a later tee time? You get to play easier holes as the day goes on, Steve?
100%. The course gets easier, the better the players are.
Ulibarri following suit after both Anthon and McBeth throw forehands. Ricky Wysocki, of course, will be attacking with a forehand.
Ricky was very aggravated after the last birdie. I wonder if he's just sensing there's not enough holes left to catch Anthon.
And he flirts with the tree but gets hung up. Let's check in with the women over at Northwood Park. Wysocki's attempt is short. He's letting one go to most of the field here by taking a 3.
There's going to be a 3-way tie for second place, 13 down, 8 behind Anthon if everybody birdies out. Anthon will be 22 down. Wysocki, McBeth, and James Cole, who is on fire, has the hottest round at 8 down, will all be 13 down.
And McBeth, make sure the chains are hanging appropriately here. Then converts on the birdie. Uli with no more than 12 feet. Anthon is almost touching the base of the basket with his tee shot. He taps in for the birdie. 3 birdies and the par by Wysocki. We're heading to the water tower hole, hole 12, right here at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft.
Pro disc stuff. You hear me when I say that, right?
And welcome back to the Lake Eureka water tower hole at the Ledgestone Insurance Open. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Steve Dodge of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. What are we seeing on the UDisc Live app?
So right now what I'm seeing is a lot of blue on James Cole's card. He's birdied 4 of the last 5. He's birdied 8 of his first 12 holes. If he keeps on that pace, he's going to beat the best score from round 1, which is absolutely phenomenal. The other thing I'm seeing is Ricky Wysocki just seeming to be off his game right now. Even when he birdies, he's upset. He knows he's 8 down, and there's less than a round and a half to go. He's got to gain a lot of strokes to get back in this thing.
We spoke of it yesterday when Ricky Wysocki closed the door on Josh Anthon with the walk-off ace back at the last Disc Golf Pro Tour stop, taking place out in Ogden, Utah. And right now, instead, we see Josh Anthon with a commanding lead and not letting up anytime soon. Josh will again have the tee. Josh appears to have just the right amount of angle on this. And that is just about 20 feet. Great job by Josh Anthon.
Very smart attacking by Josh. He's not trying to get too far left. He's not bringing the water tower into play. Keep it off to the right. Get it in play. Give yourself a look at birdie. Well done.
Of course, Paul McBeth color coordinating his disc with his outfits. And a jerk driving by who thought he would honk. Great stop by Paul McBeth as a truck honked intentionally. He regains composure. That comes in what looks a little tight. We'll see if it gets around. After hitting the tower, it miraculously stays in. Yesterday, I believe we saw 2 or 3 shots hit the tower and all go OB. McBeth stays in bounds. Uli's also appears to be tight. And great shot by Paul Ulibarri. Looks to be about 20 to 25 feet. Ricky Wysocki.
Barry, did he want to get that close to the water tower, you think?
And Ricky needs to get this close if he wants to maintain any momentum that he has. And gets a great shot. Let's see how the women did at Northwood Park earlier today.
Get it. Woo!
Looks like Josh Anthon will be first to putt. He's going to wait for the gallery to come to a halt.
Still behind, please. Thank you.
Yeah, Josh.
Of course, Anthon converts. Uli will be next to throw from 18 feet. Looks like we should have a star frame here.
With the water tower behind on that, oh, I could really run that putt.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he was thinking, is that he's got a great backdrop. And dropping in for the birdie is Ricky Wysocki. A few years ago, when we had Eagle McMahon and Simon Lizotte here, they played around with this water tower. Let's see what they did as we make the long haul over to hole 13.
I'm the disc golf guy, and this is my video blog. What else would you do when you're done with the tournament? You get the two longest throwers in the disc golf game, and you have them do the H2 throw. Eagle, you and Simon were going back and forth. You were the one to finally hit the water tower first. Tell us about it.
Well, I just went over to the lost and found over there, found the lightest disc I could find. It happened to be a 167 Star Ray. I run on over here, take it, and throw it straight in the sky. Hits the water tower, and everyone goes crazy. Then Simon couldn't let me beat him, so then he has to go and hit higher than I do.
I think they're going to see here on the video or in slow-mo that yours actually did hit a little bit higher on there. You said you had to throw it as hard as you possibly could, and you throw like 700 feet or 900 feet.
Yeah, getting it, because we never practiced throwing that angle, so that makes it a little unusual for the body, but yeah, it was definitely all I got to that little tower.
The H2 throw, water tower trick. This is Eagle and Simon, two of the furthest throwers in the game. We'll be back with you when they throw other tricks. I don't know how I'm going to end that. Okay,
loving it.
There you go, loving it.
I feel for anybody that has bad days, just because we all have them. So I always try to like tell people, like, you know, let's just keep going, keep moving. It's just one shot. The same thing I would tell myself. Try to give them a little reinforcement, even as a competitor, because the better your competitors play, you normally, you know, you're going to try to play better than that also. So just try to positive vibe, push something out there, and give them a little word of confidence.
I try to encourage them. It's tough. It's really tough because we've all been there, where, you know, you kind of get into this cycle of despair. Yeah, it's like disc golf, that happens in disc golf to all of us, and you know what it feels like, and it's tough to know the right thing to say to somebody.
It's just a situational thing. If it's one of my best friends, I'm going to try to help him out and be like, hey, come on, man, you got this. And if it's someone I don't know, I'm kind of just going to be like, well, I mean, you're kind of on your own. I don't know you. I'm not going to approach you like, hey, you got it. You know, it's a hard thing to help someone with when you don't know them.
Can that affect your game when it happens?
Yeah. I mean, there's people who freak out all the time and are known for that. And it affects people in the group, but sometimes you just have to look past it and just worry about yourself and let them do what they're going to do, because they're going to do it no matter what.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I actually, like, I'm a big advocate of kind of like a good mojo amongst the group and how that can positively influence everybody. So I always try and root for everybody on the card. I think if you're ever in a position where you're rooting for somebody or not rooting for somebody, and then they do good stuff, it can negatively impact you. And so it's always about trying to keep a positive energy on the card, and, you know, ultimately all moving up on, you know. I actually think that's a really important thing, and people you're playing with and everybody staying positive, getting along, rooting for each other, that kind of feeling that everybody has, I think, leads to success.
And welcome back, everyone. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy. We have shifted positions after a very lengthy walk from 12 over to the landing zone of 13, which is also adjacent to the tee area of 17. So while we're waiting for our other competitors to get in place, I think we'll give you a little bonus action as I see Weston Isaacs along with Will Schustrick, Dutch Napier, and Nate Perkins. Maybe we'll see if we can card some ace action here on hole 17. Hole 17, a very reachable yet difficult hole that plays 80% of it over the water. You must come inbounds. As we said, we'll give you a little bonus action here. Hole 17, Weston Isaacs on the tee. Weston and the rest of the card. This is your 110 group, and he comes up short. And Will Schustrick with a hyzer that's pushing towards 17. It finds land, but it is too far left. That will be considered OB. He'll move to the drop zone from there. Nate Perkins, good looking shot, covers all of the water and then some. He's looking at 25 feet from the pin. And final tee is Dutch Napier, aka Batman. And Dutch is tracking toward the pin. Let's see if it gets all the way there. It does. He's on the opposite side. Of course, Dutch, our favorite Smashy, the only individual on the planet with a Smashbox TV tattoo. So congrats to Dutch. And here I'm joined by Steve Halloway, representing MVP. And Steve, you guys have been a great supporter and sponsor of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and it seems like there's a new disc coming out at least twice a day. You guys have a lot of things going on over there. Tell us about the exciting news.
Actually, MVP has been doing our best to build a fully fledged lineup. There's a lot of complaints about, oh, you guys are a new company, you don't have enough discs, and our engineer, Chad, basically looked at it and said, okay, hold my beer, and, decided we were going to have enough discs to fledge out basically anybody's bag, and in typical MVP quality, they're absolutely amazing, and the honest answer is we're not slowing down anytime soon.
Well, it's been very exciting. I remember when they came out a number of years ago, I thought, well, overmold, it is something that's not done too often in our industry, and some people maybe even passed it off a little bit and said, well, these guys, it can't be that serious. Well, they're proving just the opposite. They're very serious, and more discs, along with baskets and bags and everything else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The standard, the gold standard in at-home practice right now is the Black Hole Pro. I mean, you look online and everybody's like, what basket do I get? It's that one. And we pride ourselves on both the quality of our discs and every product we make. And, I mean, again, Chad, our engineer, is just, we looked at him and said, you make the best products you could possibly make, and we'll do it. And he loves it, so we're very excited for it.
Well, and we've seen a lot of our manufacturers have these contests or maybe some of these other events going on throughout the year that aren't specific to just stroke-by-stroke tournament play. Yep. MVP also came out with their own iteration. Explain what that is.
Yeah, so circuit events was really our way to give tournament directors a wide array of options. We've got the Space Race, which is your, run the basket event. We've got a Winter Series event. We've got a multiple, like one side versus the other. Some of our fans really like Axiom discs versus MVP and stuff like that. And so the goal was, we can really kind of cater to whatever the tournament director wants to do, and this is a way to give them a tournament in the box kind of representation of, hey, we'd love to do an MVP's version of a run the chains option. And we were like, absolutely, we want to do that for you.
Well, it's been great to see. Now, some people have said, well, why isn't MVP sponsoring all of our top players? Is that a concern? Because you're gaining market share, and people are getting more and more serious about the MVP brand. Is that just an avenue or a way that you don't feel like you guys necessarily need to go, or is that still open in terms of some of our players?
No, I'm not 100% opposed to sponsoring somebody who's right now, top 10 level player. It's just I'm more interested in building relationships with players first and going into a situation where you walk up and say, okay, here's money and cash and discs and stuff, now throw for me. That's not a good way in my mind to start a relationship with somebody. And so because of that, I went and tried to find guys who, weren't already kind of ingrained in one space and said, okay, look, let's work together. And, I do a lot of backgrounding and interviewing of people because, you'll hear me say over and over, I believe believe in good people first and good players second. So if you go out and you play around with an MVP person, if you see that team MVP logo, you can walk up and have a great round and that they're going to be a pleasant person to play with. And by the end of it, you're going to be like, man, my game was better because the person I played with was great. And that's my big focus kind of right now. I'm also a 3 to 5 year plan kind of guy, so I've got my eye on a whole bunch of AMs that I know are going to be great in coming years. And I'm really happy of the pros we have right now. Jacob Mott was on feature card first round and held his own. He was fantastic. And it was his first time being on camera and having Central Coast, and for a lot of people that might give you jitters, and he held it together and played a great round. So I'm super happy with Team MVP right now.
Very cool. Well, great to see the expansion and the growth, proving that you guys are various years. Thank you guys so much for supporting the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We look forward to more things to come from MVP. All right, we're going to get back to the action in just a few moments after a word from our sponsors right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
For looks, for life, for link.
And welcome back. We are here with Josh Anthon after everyone had successfully crossed the water off their tee shots on 13. And Steve, a few days ago you talked about what is needed to attack this hole if you wanted to get the birdie. Sounds like a lot of over-the-water shots, including the first one successfully by Josh, and now his second one is successfully over. That's what we're going to see from the next three?
I would fully expect so. These guys do very well on this hole. And as just recapping where we are right now after that great interview with Steve Holloway of MVP, Josh Anton's 8 ahead of Paul McBeth and Ricky Wysocki. Paul Ulibarri's 9 down. 9 behind, I should say. He's also safely on the second peninsula of this 3-peninsula par 5.
And this hole measures in right around 1,000 feet, if I recall. 1,080 to be exact. And Wysocki has to go out over the water, not as much distance as we'll see from the other competitors because he had to give it so much of a hyzer angle. And Paul McBeth has put himself in a prime landing zone here on this first shot of the par 5.
So 1,080 feet, he's gone about 500. Is he going to be going for the green, trying to get the eagle to make up some room? The answer to that is a no.
It is definitely a no, as he somewhat, not lazily, but he throws that one up safely. We're going to move on. We'll be back in a moment.
I knew it. I knew it. Haha.
What's the pro tip on snack time, Sarah?
This is a really good time when you're last on the box and there's a wait. This is some yogurt that I keep in my cooler bag of my Zuka cart, because I have all these sweet accessories to carry all the cool stuff you need. Lots of room for lots of fun things like a toothbrush, some super glue, some baby wipes, an extra skirt, a rubber chicken, and some lotion.
Initial shot going a little farther up the peninsula had to be a big hyzer, and so he had the longest shot of these third shots onto the green. Paul McBeth, who had the best drive, arguably, played safe, and he's got about the same shot. Looks like that's carrying a little bit left. It's going to be just outside circle 1.
And Josh knows it's a good shot. He doesn't even turn to look until it finally lands. Ulibarri will be the last to approach. And Uli also with a hyzer. Besides, I'd hate to be a lefty on this hole, Steve. All right, let's see how the women did on their 13th hole over at Northwood Park. Wysocki's straddled putt to the left is not good. And McBeth's 26-footer is in. We'll take the birdie 4. Riley's also in. Ricky Wysocki moving in for par. And Anthon in for the easy birdie. Steve, your Disc Golf Pro Tour shirt tells me you've been working out. We'll join everyone on hole 14 in just a moment. Welcome back. We've caught up with the second card. Greg Barsby throwing his tee shot. Bobby Music next to throw. And they will move down the fairway. Derek Billings has grabbed the bag for Josh Anthon. Derek, you played a little earlier today. How'd the round go for you, buddy?
It was a little rough out there.
There was just a debate, actually, a hole or two ago, as to if this is truly a lefty-friendly course at all. And you're one of the best lefties in the game. What do you think?
You really trapped me in this interview.
Then I'm doing a good job.
All right, well, nice shot, Paul.
All right, so learning from Derek Billings that is his favorite course. Steve, what are we seeing out here?
Any course that's fair to both lefties and righties is not lefty-friendly by definition. So I suspect that's where Derek was on that. Not wanting to step on any toes. So
he's always a gentleman.
We've got the whole 905-foot hole 14. This seems like a very long course, especially when you got a 1,000-foot hole and then a 900-foot hole back-to-back. This is the basically an average hole, eighth most difficult hole. These guys play at 5 3s, 3 4s. It's a tweener hole, and someone could gain a stroke on Josh and close the lead to maybe a couple dozen.
Well, he is certainly playing quite well here today. The second card is moving down the fairway, so we'll give you a little extra action here on the 14th hole. Our pace overall has been very good here, both yesterday and today during our live broadcast. We thank you guys for tuning in and watching the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We're here for the second leg of the 2017 season, the 5 events that will remain here. Some big exciting events coming up. Of course, we're kicking things off on the second leg with the Ledgestone Insurance Open, and in 2 weeks we'll be in Kentucky for the Idlewild Open. And shortly after that, we move into Vibram. Then we move over to Smuggler's Notch, the home, I should say, of the 2018 Pro Worlds. And then finally, we'll have the championships in October. Pretty exciting stuff.
It is pretty exciting, and I'm glad you brought up the championships as one of our final events. The top 8 guys in tour points, that's what we're doing here. We're earning tour points. And the top 8 guys in tour points get a bye into the semifinals. The top 25 in tour points get a bye into the quarterfinals. And the top 50 in tour points actually qualify to go to the tour championship. And then those top 50 players are the people who get the 2018 tour cards. And they will get their own trading cards, which I think you got quite a few of those. And they did sell very well. I think we sold those out within a week, and probably sold them out about a week before they were actually released. It was sold out during the pre-orders. But we make a limited number of those to make sure that they're special. And the top 50 guys and the top, I believe it's 15 women, will qualify and get themselves a tour card. And that's where we're headed right now.
Well, you spoke yesterday of movement that could take place, and typically today is referred to as moving day. We saw some very drastic changes up and down the ladder yesterday, mainly due to the weather and the conditions. We saw our second card really struggle, and a few of them had fallen off the pace quite hard, but yet we see, I think, Dustin Keegan and a few others and Colin Bailey really move up the card. Are we seeing anything on the Nico arrows today, anything substantial?
I would say yeah to that. Right now, as we know, Ricky Wysocki's struggling a little bit. He's only 2 down for the day. He's lost 5 strokes to Josh Anthon in just this one round. He's lost 7 strokes to James Cole, who was 1 stroke behind him. He's -9 through 14. That in the top 10, he and Cam Colglazier are making the big moves. Cam Colglazier's 8 down, moved into a tie for 6th place. He's 11 down through the tournament. Just a baker's dozen behind Josh Anthon. So when Ricky we just saw Ricky miss that very difficult Circle 1 putt. That was his second Circle 1 putt. He hasn't hit a Circle 2 putt yet today. He's 0 for 3. And yesterday he started out 3 for 4. That right there, you could argue that's a 6 strokes difference in his game, and that is the difference basically between him and Josh for today.
And of course, a few other players rounding out our top 10. Looks like James Cole is solely in 5th at the moment. KJ Nybo sitting in a tie for 6th with Colin Bailey and Cameron Colglazier. And also from the second card, we see Bobby Music tied for 9th place along with Nate Doss, who I believe is on the 3rd card, sitting at 6 under par through 14 holes.
It looks like Josh Anthon is ready to go, and we are live on hole 14. Well, we'll see if we're live.
Oh, I'm alive. And Josh is waiting for, make sure everyone is clear from the second card before he throws his tee shot.
Is that towel that he got from Howard Johnson's, do you think he picked that up yesterday?
He's a fresh kind of guy. He may have got a new one this morning.
So he's staying at the final Howard, the last remaining Howard Johnson's as it is. Here goes his tee.
Really doing exactly what you want to do here, which is keep it safe, inbounds, not too close to the water, but also you don't want it to flare off to the left, so that looks to be a good position, maybe a little bit more distance, but that's in pretty good position. Here's Paul McBeth.
We sat down for 5-10 minutes right now. These guys, do they cool off at all? What do they do to stay warm?
If there was any cool down whatsoever, it seems not to have affected Paul McBeth. I think these guys are in the zone. They're 14 holes in. They're ready to go. And with the best drive thus far, we see Paul Ulibarri lace that one down the fairway. And a very aggressive play here by Ricky Wysocki with O.B. Lake on the right. He rolls it, that kicks up and off the tree. However, it stands still and sits down. Let's see how the women did on their 14th hole at Northwood Park. Welcome back to the fairway here on hole number 14, as we see our leader Josh Anthon sitting at 24 under par. And rarely do you ever see Ricky Wysocki 9 strokes off of any leader, Josh Anthon or anyone else. This is really Josh's event to win right here, or to lose, depending how you look at it.
You are 100% right. And I mentioned the concept of cooling off. I know when I'm playing 5 minutes later, I start to cool down a little bit, the muscles tighten up. These 4 guys just had 4 of the purest drives possible here on hole 14. They're going to be attacking this green, and Wysocki and McBeth and Ulibarri have all made it very clear. They're just running right now. They know they want to win. They got to go.
Seems to be a party off to the right side of the green here. Not sure if there was a OB clarification. And my unofficial intelligence is telling me that Barsby may have thrown from what he thought was his OB disc, but ultimately it was not really his disc. So there may be a misplay or a mislie. Of course, all completely unconfirmed at the moment, but what I may be hearing from up near the green is that, to recap, he had gone OB, he threw from what he thought was his OB lie, and that may have not in fact been his OB disc. It may have been a different one. So again, all unconfirmed. We'll have to catch up in a moment to see if that was or was not the case. If so, according to PDGA rules, anytime you play from a lie that is not your own, I believe that is a 2-stroke misplay penalty, and I cannot confirm that's what happened, but we'll get a clarification. That could all be completely fabricated, so we'll see.
I've got some fun facts for you, Terry.
Do you?
Ricky Wysocki, who maybe isn't quite 100% right now, he's birdied 2 of the last 4. Not too bad, except for the fact that McBeth, Ulibarri, and Anthon have all birdied 4 of the last 4. Not only that, but Anthon has birdied 5 in a row.
And Josh Anthon gets out over the water, and I'm no doubt about that coming back in bounds. It's going to do just that. And a great shot there by Josh Anthon. That's the high five from his caddy, D. Bill. Paul Ulibarri also gives him a fist bump.
Josh is 100% in circle 1, and he's also hit a circle 2 putt. So he's doing it with the driver and the putter today.
McBeth is looking to come up shorter from what we just compared to Josh Anthon. So you'll have a putt from there, however not quite to the basket. Uli a little further up the fairway, and Ricky will be 4th to approach after his roller had landed 25 feet from the water. And putting plenty of power on that. We see Paul making sure he stays away from the OB water. You don't need any unnecessary mistakes here. A great shot there by Wysocki. We've got a lengthy walk. We're going to get back to you in a few moments after a word from our sponsors on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And he is human, folks. McBeth converts from 29 feet after seeing Josh Anthon miss from circle's edge. Uli's 25-footer is high left. We'll see a pair of pars and also a pair of birdies. Wysocki and McBeth picking up a stroke on the leader. Josh Anthon, he'll tap in. We're going to move on to the elevated basket on hole 15, right here, the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Maybe not. All right, Chad, your camera on them though. Welcome back to hole number 15. We have caught up with our second card, our chase card. And off in the distance I see our tournament director, Nate Heinold, having a conversation. I'm guessing there was some kind of rules clarification to be made here. Steve, we briefly spoke of it yesterday, but this new elevated basket, well, we have a new sponsor for some of our elevated baskets. Tell us all about our newest sponsor.
Tempercraft came on board as a sponsor. These guys make very high quality water bottles. Kept this, I put lukewarm water in it, and it has stayed lukewarm all day. Seems like when I put ice in there, it stays cold though. But Tempercraft, Carl is actually putting on the Tempercraft elevated basket. It's also the Delta Windjammers elevated basket. And he came up to me a couple days ago and said he hit his first putt on it, so he doesn't mind them. Let's see if he can hit this one.
And I'm guessing he wishes it wasn't elevated at the moment. That's KJ Nybo of Denmark, making the trip over here to play this weekend. And this is Colin Bailey from Minnesota. Yesterday he had a very good round. I believe it was the tie for the hottest score at 6 under par, which was very impressive out here with the wind. And unfortunately, also right off the front of the basket.
So day one, the hot round was 12 under. Day two, the hot round was 6 under. Right now, Cameron Colglazier is sitting at 10 down, so he might be setting the mark for this round. He's actually birdied 7 of his last 8 holes. He could go 8 down in the back 9, which would be a phenomenal recovery. He's also moved up into 5th place as we watch these guys tap out.
I'm going to move into better position in just a moment as our competitors will continue to tap out on hole 15's basket. And it is all clear for Paul McBeth here on hole 15, the 4th most easy hole on the course. Paul opts for the turnover, and that is parked. Great shot by Paul McBeth.
He almost hit the Tempercraft elevated basket.
And interestingly enough, a roller which goes out of bounds. Hopefully all of the people move, and we'll see if that comes back in bounds. And I do not believe that got back in bounds. Ricky Wysocki not going with a forehand. I'm completely baffled by that decision. Josh Anthon with a leopard turnover fairway driver, which comes up short left side, just outside the circle.
We haven't seen a forehand from Ricky since hole 11, which is only 240 feet.
Yesterday you said that maybe Paul Ulibarri's putter or putting stroke was broken. Maybe there's something wrong with Ricky's forehand. I don't know, but let's see how the women did on their 15th hole at Northwood Park. And Ricky lunges forward from approximately 85 feet. He's going to be taking a bogey 4 here. Again, the 4th easiest hole on the course. We've got a few birdie opportunities lined up. Wysocki's going to be giving some away here with that bogey.
Yeah, he really is. 330 feet uphill, probably plays about 350. One of the best forehands in the game. You would expect him to use that forehand and park this thing. He and Anthon are the only two players in this foursome that have birdied this, and it looks like Ulibarri and McBeth might be about to change that.
Ricky is in, and it looks like Paul McBeth with that birdie will move to 18 under par and -7 for the round. We're moving on. Hole 16 coming right at you here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Get it anywhere close, it stops on a dime, basically.
Looks like you got a little cut roll even.
Yeah.
Doss going back to that TI buzz.
Please, it's tough to have a good putt long.
Gotcha. Doss going TI buzz.
Just the perfect height. See, missing left there is not bad because it gets stopped just like you see there. So
there you go. Yeah. The Joe.
Greg Barsby throwing a forehand shot as we've Caught up with our second card. Looks to be about 45 feet from the pin. Greg Barsby visibly frustrated with that. Next to throw. Looks like it needed a little more height. Certainly short of the pin. Again, we're watching the second card at the moment. They are on hole number 15. As soon as these guys throw their approach shots, we'll be able to turn around and get the lead card throwing at us.
So Terry, I don't want to say you called this thing too early, but as we just saw, Josh Anton's just lost 2 strokes to Paul McBeth over the last couple of holes. This is a very tricky hole, although I suspect Josh will play this just fine. But hole 17, yesterday we saw him hit the dock and go OB. There's a possible 2-stroke swing, which would close the gap to 4. I don't think this thing's over yet, especially with the weather that could come tomorrow. Here's KJ, Carl Nybo. I don't know how much that skipped, but it looked like he's put himself a good distance at least.
Approximately 35 feet from the pin, looks to be just a bit long for KJ Nybo. We'll be able to get one more approach shot here. This is Colin Bailey, who's thrown his tee shot to this location.
Colin's a name we haven't heard very much. We saw him at the Minnesota Majestic doing really well. He's currently in 8th place, just 1 down for the day after 6 down yesterday.
And that comes up long of the basket, just a bit long, but inside the circle.
So we just saw Carl KJ Nybo throw his nice upshot there. I asked KJ earlier this week, I asked him what he did for a living, and he said he was a gardener. It made me think he was a gardener up in New England, the way he pronounced it. So he has a very good New England accent. Thinking he could easily pass for Worcester, not quite Boston.
And as we pan to our right, we can see Tournament Director Nate Heinold holding up the red flag. He is officially carrying out some spotter duties here this week. I think he just looks good in red, so he's out here taking in the action. This, of course, is a property that's very near and dear to him, as he's had a lot of say in the design and even the redesigns that have taken place over the last few years, listening to the players' feedback along with some of our top competition members.
Clearly, one of the things when you run it this big, the key is to do everything yourself. Something Nate Heinold specializes in. He is doing the staffing. I saw him doing parking earlier. Now he's the TD. He's probably going to be writing checks. I don't think he even has any staff here at all, as far as 80 people, all of the various courses, nearly 1,000 competitors in all the divisions.
I've also seen Nate's mom out here doing a little bit of work, and one wonders, with a woman as good looking as she is, where did he get his looks from? That's the only thing I was questioning. Paul McBeth on the tee. McBeth's drive gets caught up by a tree that is on the left side. Steve, a nearly perfect shot would actually come buzzing just past where we're standing at the moment. We are on the right side of their fairway. And Uli is coming directly at us. And just to be safe, trying to make sure we get out of the way there. It kicked out from the bushes on the right side of the fairway, approximately 5 feet off of them.
This is a 606-foot par 4. Was that Josh? Yeah. Josh Anthon with a beautiful roller.
And Nate is going to try and hunt it down. And we'll see if that actually...
Ricky is just thrown. Ricky's roller's coming.
And again, a tree stops Ricky's disc dead in its tracks. On the previous hole, there was a chance for it to come back in bounds. But either way, let's see how the women did on their 16th hole at Northwood Park. Second shot. Seems as if he's motioning for a backhand. Does he have about 400 feet right now?
600 feet long.
He's asking for it to get down. I think there was an oh boy mixed in there. And he will be safe, but short. Well, Ulibarri will be second to throw, as he had just barely off the right side bush. Got a very good position from where he was headed.
Would you say that Warren Buffett is safe and short?
Oh, yeah. Just a bit long for Uli. Circle's edge. Forehand shot there by Ricky with a standstill and a precarious lie.
He seemed to leave that a little short, and maybe didn't have a full follow-through. And now we got to see if Josh Anthon can go up and down. He had the longest drive by about 80 to 100 feet, although Ricky hit that tree. He's got about 180 to the pin. Let's see if he can get it inside circle one and give himself a chance to extend his lead.
turnover shot, what some would refer to as a patent pending.
What does that term patent pending mean when you say it like that, Terry?
With reference to that particular shot, anytime you're standing with your back to the basket and reached out as he was, that was really a shot that was, I believe, coined maybe even by Billy Crump at one point, referencing Barry Schultz, who was the smoothest we've ever really seen at that shot, and I think that was a coined phrase. Smashbox got some of 3 cents every time it's used during a broadcast, so I think we're officially up to 12 cents for this weekend.
As I'm cutting Smashbox a check, is that basically just adding on to my bill?
Most definitely. Paul McBeth finds himself at Circle 2's edge, approximately 66 feet from the pin. Feel a gentle crosswind for him, blowing from left to right. And it carries over the basket, hits the tree behind him. It'll leave him with no more than 10 feet. And Ricky's 55-footer is the perfect height, but approximately 2 feet to the right.
Ricky's going 3-3 here. That's his first par, assuming he can hit that comebacker. That'll be his first par here on hole 16. We've got 2 holes left. Josh Anthon up by 6 with an opportunity to make it 7. This is not Josh.
Paul Ulibarri's attempt is just low. It scoops in and out of the pin of the basket, and Ricky, as you said, now putting for par. Ricky scoops up his mini in frustration here on these custom powder-coated baskets. These are Discraft Chain Stars. They are raffled off as part of the prizes that can be won for a St. Jude Children's Hospital raffle. Find Ledgestone Insurance Open on Facebook if you'd like to get yourself a ticket, and you could win one of these beautiful baskets. We're raising money for St. Jude at the Ledgestone Insurance Open. We'll see you on 17.
For driving with power or into a headwind, Vibram designed a distance driver with amazing glide and a strong, predictable fade. It is the ideal disc for big arms, forehand drives, and smooth right-to-left finishes. Introducing the Olace from Vibram. Durability, grip, performance.
At Disc Golf Center, we strive to provide the best customer service and value. With our live inventory of over 20,000 discs, we have the widest selection and the best prices. Check out discgolfcenter.com to see what we have to offer, including free shipping within the United States on all orders over $12 and a customer rewards program that gets better over time. Visit discgolfcenter.com, the world's largest disc golf store.
Hole number 17, measuring in at 285 feet. And Josh definitely making the adjustment. Not nearly as windy as yesterday, but finds himself under the pin here on hole 17 today. And McBeth releasing his Nova, which is heading toward the dock. It hits one of the uprights and goes into the water. Yesterday, Paul played the wide hyzer. He's doing the same today. And sticks it. Also inside 25 feet. And Ricky's not pleased with the shot. That looks like it may have been a little light out of his hands. But it does get onto the green. He'll have a putt. We're going to move to the drop zone. We'll be back in a few moments right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And welcome back. We are here on the drop zone of hole number 17. Paul McBeth to tee, or correction, to throw his shot first, as the other three landed in bounds.
You wanted to say something, but he didn't give it to you.
Josh, what are we seeing as we're moving down the fairway here? We say three people land inbounds. McBeth hitting the dock that you hit yesterday, actually, just in a different spot. What was the adjustment?
Threw it a little harder, gave it a little more height, and without the wind, it's a lot easier. That wind yesterday was very rough.
What'd you throw here today?
The new Rock X3, great disc, super stable and dependable.
Well, he finds himself right next to the pin. Ricky Wysocki will probably be next to putt. I feel as if he will be out. Ulibarri and again Josh Anthon putting themselves within 15. I'd like to thank Disc Stalker for your support here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And Wysocki looks mad, but still cards the birdie. And just getting in and staying in. We'll see 3 birdies here and a bogey 4 by 4-time world champ Paul McBeth. A little bit of a separator here on the 17th hole. 1 to play, 19 to go overall. Josh Anthon in your lead. Let's move to 18.
Flashlight LED disc golf discs just changed the game. The unique Disco Select feature allows everyone to choose their own color by simply pressing the middle button, then pressing it again during the first rotation of colors when the one you want appears. Or you can leave it in disco mode, rotating through the 6 different colors for the duration of your game. Designed by serious professionals, crafted from Night Eye's unrivaled sure grip material, and featuring Night Eye's patented fiber optics array, these discs strike the perfect balance of durability, stability, performance, and just plain awesomeness. With easily replaceable batteries and an uber-long life, the Flashlight driver, mid-range, and putter will shine as they blaze your path to victory, day or night. Night Eyes. Discover your solution.
Find something. And welcome back here on hole number 18. I think we are blessed with a very short hold-up. In fact, the chase card is moving down the fairway, so it won't be too long before our lead card here is ready to go. And barring any significant blow-up or catastrophe on this hole, I think we're going to see these same 4 competitors tomorrow.
I think it does indeed look that way. One great thing about this course is that it does have a very good finishing hole. There is some danger here. There's OB to the right. There's obviously the water to the left. A lot of guys throw the aggressive roller, which can take either of those into play. So, but to your point, absolutely, Ricky Wysocki has a 3-stroke lead over Cameron Colglazier, who's in 5th. Ended up 10 down, which is, as far as I can tell, the hot round of the day, although Josh Anthon has an opportunity to tie that right now. He's 9 strokes ahead of both McBeth and Ulibarri.
So solid performances by McBeth and Ulibarri, but again, 9 strokes off the pace of where we see Josh Anthon. Pretty incredible performance here through nearly 3/4 of the tournament.
Almost unbelievable. He's had a few hiccups, but this course challenges every drive. There's OB on almost every hole. Is there OB on every hole?
We'll say there is. It'll sound better.
It feels like there's OB on every hole. It feels like there's 900 feet on every hole. This comes in at 711 feet. It's a pretty challenging par 4. Josh keeps his disc dry on this relatively. It's becoming a little bit humid, isn't it, Terry?
It is. We are hopefully going to be blessed with at least tolerable weather for tomorrow. There is, of course, rain and inclement weather in the forecast. It wouldn't be a big tournament this year without that, and we'll see how things play out. At one point there was a 100% chance of rain for tomorrow, and as some may have realized, there is a cut to 132 spots, which I think just trims off the bottom 15 or 20 players or so for tomorrow's round as things kick off. Right now, looking at around the 2 p.m. time frame, looks as if it is tapered to a 60% chance, and then it quickly goes to a 40 and 20% chance for 3 and 4 p.m. respectively. So if the weather does push through, it may not affect our lead card in terms of actual precipitation during the round, but it may slow things down throughout the day, pushing things back, and plus everyone will be wiping their discs and taking a little extra time. So we'll see how that plays out.
I think we're scheduled for a 2 o'clock start tomorrow. A lot of times in New England, the weather moves. There we go, Josh Anthon with that very aggressive roller. Call it the smart aggressive.
Yuli's lining up a backhand roller as well. And a very flippy disc as that gets up, stands for him and starts to roll. Carries up toward the right side of the fairway. And Ricky's luck has him hitting a tree with just about every backhand roller he's thrown with that yellow disc today. We'll see if this one stays clean for him. And he does get a clap from the gallery.
I saw Ricky with a little smirk there. I'm thinking he might have saved one. Thought that was going OB.
And McBeth also with a backhand roller. We saw some very impressive roller shots here yesterday, and that's got a good move on it. Let's see how the women played their last hole at Northwood Park earlier today. Welcome back here on hole number 18's fairway. See a couple of the rollers that had landed relatively close to one another. A very calm day out here in Lake Eureka Park. Josh and the rest of the group will have to wait for the chase card to clear out on the 18th green.
Josh has got looks like a fairway driver. Looks like he's lining up for backhand. In my opinion, he's probably going to play this relatively safe. He says, I'm up by 9. That's fine.
I disagree. I think he's going to play aggressive and be attacking the pin.
We'll see what happens here, Terry. Just, you know, what is the Steve Wrong tracker? I think it's up to 5, and I think that's the highest it's ever gone.
I know it's 100%. That's all I know. And he gets a kick off the tree, definitely going for that green. It's not going to get there, but Ulibarri lining up beforehand. And that was a great release by Uli. Unfortunately, headed right toward the tree. He did get a little bit of a break that didn't carry far enough left to find the water. He should be able to get up and down and save the 4 from there. That could have been a little more punitive had it found the water.
So, at the Jonesboro Open going into the final round, Ricky Wysocki had a 9-stroke lead. Simon Lizotte almost caught him. Do you think in the rain tomorrow, these guys could have a chance of catching Josh?
Not if he's packing his Howard Johnson towels. He'll be just fine. Paul McBeth coming in. We'll see if that comes in and checks up for him, and it comes in hot, and that is OB for Paul McBeth. Wysocki also lining up beforehand. And a misfire there by Wysocki, throwing it almost straight into the ground. We talk about Josh Anthon holding on to the lead. Well, if they're not going to chase him down, it's going to make it a little bit easier. And certainly I'm not making light of their skills or effort here, but they're going to have to apply every bit of pressure they can on Josh. And there's no more room for mistakes with just 19 holes here to play.
So, 2 interesting things. Number 1, that was Paul McBeth's 6th OB stroke today. At the press conference, he was talking about how the OB, when it was stroke and distance, didn't really matter.
And Uli with another forehand here on 18. Forehand approach by Ricky Wysocki.
Another interesting thing, at the Jonesboro Open, it was Simon Lizotte and Johnny McRae chasing down Ricky, or trying to. Here we've got 3 players chasing down Josh, and the question is whether or not they're going to be trying for first, or just trying to make sure they get second. Totally different mindset when you're going into your throws.
And they'll tell you that if Josh had room to give that a full run, he would have. There's really no laying up in Josh Anthon's game. However, he had a low ceiling, and therefore the best he could do is really just get it next to the basket. He'll walk away. First 2 rounds, he went 3-3 giving himself the birdie on hole 18 here today. He's going to have to settle for the par.
Through 3 rounds, assuming everybody putts out, which is not necessarily a safe assumption, Josh Anthon is going to be 10 strokes ahead of Paul McBeth, Paul Ulibarri, and Ricky Wysocki.
And McBeth swoops up his mini in frustration. He does convert on the putt, however frustrated with the finish. And Josh, the other night on the podcast before the event, we said anything more than 6 strokes is considered a whooping. And that's exactly the pace and then some that Josh Anthon is currently on. And Yuli taps in. As Yuli taps in his final putt of the round, I'm going to be joined by Steve Dodge. And Steve, 3 rounds complete, 1 round to go tomorrow. We're unsure of the weather that is currently forecasted, but right now there's a commanding lead, and that's Josh Anthon's.
You are 100% right. He had a good lead, and he did not stop. He said, "I'm going to take this thing. If you guys want to catch me, bring it on." But he played aggressive, just like you said, and he brought it home. He's up by 10.
And you said Paul McBeth had 6 out-of-bounds strokes during that round. I believe he had 3 in the first 3 holes. Very uncharacteristic of him. Right now, there may not be enough McBeast mode out there for him or the rest of the group. They're going to have a lot of work to do tomorrow.
They really do. He saved 3 of those to make par, which is they were amazing. That was a good finishing putt to save the par here on 18. But they've got a lot of work. The weather, you never know what's going to happen with the weather. Maybe that'll play a role in making it close, making it possible to catch Josh. But he's got a tremendous lead, and we'll have to see what happens tomorrow.
There doesn't seem to be any letting up in his game whatsoever, proving why he's the 3rd highest rated player in the world at the moment. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us here today on this gorgeous Saturday, which is also National Disc Golf Day. Hope that you spread some love, went out, maybe introduce someone new to the game, or go out and take advantage. Let someone know that they can get a discount in becoming a PDGA member today as well. There's a discount code, 20% off, if you'd like to become a new PDGA member. I'd like to thank our staff and crew that were out here doing all of the hard work. Of course, that's Rick on the camera along with Chad on our catch camera, Gary to the O back at the studio along with Johnny V. For Steve Dodge and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 2 p.m. as we wrap up the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft.